Hi everyone, Jampot here. Apologies if I'm a little out of breath. I just got in from the cold, but now it's time to play some Galaxy. Uh, okay, I just played Zagreus and it was good. Uh, yeah, I would have run it back over the other two options, but given that I just played it, I want to try something else. Let's do Merryweather. Uh, this captain's really cool. Early and mid game bully for sure. Uh, can have some can win games with very weird legendary boards, but definitely has a very low cap if you're sticking to like the obvious parts of the strategy. Uh, so I think I just unlocked the last card that I was missing, which was Blue Fairy, which I think might be excellent with this, and I kind of want to mess around and try like a toy build with it maybe, because like summoning in front of uh supports is just like a rock solid strategy to begin with. And I'm kind of tired of playing this like boring old Fae thing. So, if you'll bear with me, hopefully this is interesting. If it's not, you can either skip to the game itself or, just watch a different video. But I'm gonna try and like construct this fresh. And what I'm gonna start with is that I want to have a deck in which I'm excited to see, like my game plan will involve me being excited to see Blue Fairy. So, going backwards from there, Blue Fairy and Mephisto is certainly interesting. It is also a support. Uh, oh, that's maybe not so good, right? Because it affects itself, so if it ever dies in the fight, it's just done so. Okay, so that's awkward that we can't run that, but that's fine. Moonshadow is a gimme, like just so excellent. Miss Muffet is like kind of works with the game plan. Like it does summon in front of Blue Fairy. It's not the best, but I think this is another character that I haven't really gotten to work, and it might just be that it's gotten outclassed. But I think it has legs. Clearly, it has legs. It has 10 of them. Um, but I, I, it seems like maybe we can make it work. So then the other thing that would kind of like tie the room together, let's say if we had like a Blue Fairy and a Miss Muffet in the middle, would be to have Daedalus in there, which is something that I'm already kind of interested in. Okay, so I think this is a nice little start. Yeah, we don't really want like too many like support units or like backline units like Barrel of Monkeys, even though it summons, because we do. I mean, not that we have to like take it. Our captain ability just has to get us to the late game where we're doing powerful stuff that like outclasses all of the captain abilities. But except for like the latest game scaling ones, I guess. But like that's they have the other trade-off, right? Like where they have nothing to help them to get there. Um, Anyway, so uh but I still think that like let's try and see if we can make this happen and then we'll see if we need to adjust it as we go. I typically am really enamored with Chubby Cheap with Daedalus, and we don't know that we don't want to be Candy yet, so that's something to keep in mind. Let's see as we're filling in our slots, because Candy is pretty greedy. Um, you can't really afford to buy too many things that are like sort of efficient but aren't scaling off of your candy because that makes it so that your candy purchases are not strong enough on their own, your candy like spell scaling, and you do need to be acquiring that, right? So you just get this awkward tension if you have too many like non-candy units that are a core part of your strategy, and I think we probably will, but maybe not. We'll see. Charlotte is like a classic with Merryweather, just because you are almost always going to be running two supports. It can be kind of awkward because it gets like huge, and also it takes up this slot that we are like is very precious. This slot two. Um, I have been finding it kind of clunky. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna leave it out, and I'm gonna see if we really miss it. If we're just like finding that our supports are like dying, because the other thing is that Charlotte often ends up buffing um like a Jill Sunshine and like a Boon Willow or something like that, right? And like n- those are not necessarily units that you can like stick with very long, right? Like you do need to start upgrading those. So then all those stat buffs, they it's okay to like waste some stats, but these are like huge buffs to be like hemorrhaging. So like what time are you supposed to pick this up? Like late game you have all your if you have like good supports, you kind of want to be getting a better unit in there. You don't really have time to be scaling this, but when you get this early, it scales the wrong things. Uh, I'm not saying it's terrible. It's often, more than good enough, but it isn't as obvious and like elegant of a fit as you might think. Sarmina is certainly powerful. It's a quest we could conceivably finish, and that's always exciting. Um, the fact that it scales itself, we're not really we're not intending to stick with it, but like it could scale something that we care about. Like maybe we have like a Mecha Man in the front that we want to like keep in our board or like a goodie bag, basically forever, and having a few extra stats on it, even if we get off this Tarmina, will be really nice. Uh, Speaking of which, let's just get that Mecha Man in there. That's like definitely part of what we're trying to do if we're trying to make Blue Fairy work. Okay. We're certainly still just doing the early game stuff. Prickles is getting in there. Uh, okay. I think we're too likely to be strong to want this. Shanty's always nice to have. I like Shanty more than Wink if we're not trying to like really commit to Fae. Wink already can sometimes have awkward runs where like first of all they're the runs where like he just doesn't quite hunt, it doesn't really work out. You invest some resources and then it still doesn't work and then you're really in trouble. Um, but more often like than not, if you invest the resources, it will do something. But sometimes it gets the hunts off, and then you don't really get the Fey stuff going together. Uh, and if it's not like a really important part of your whole game plan, then the payoff is like a little too late. You could have just bought one Pisces and solved that entire thing, and then like had a much more stable early game. So that's my like problem with a Wink if you're not really like really valuing those that buff because it's an incredible buff if it's what you're doing. But I don't think it is what we're doing now. So I'm gonna do Shanty just because like you get one hunt off and it's quite a bit of value, and it's not that difficult to get two or three off, and then you just pivot off of it. Like, and I'm saying two or three, like including like at some point you miss and then you silver the shanty and it's got that first buff, so it actually can like hit again. Um, I think over the course of you running it, you can expect to get that without too much investment, and then I think that's a reasonable payoff for that investment. Toady is kind of good because like all of these have low starting stats, but they're quite good. Like we really want to be able to slam them. So I'm interested in Toady. Um, and I think it's okay to be like thinking so much about this late game because I think that our early game will be pretty strong just by having like random supports and such. Supports and summons are just going to work. I think that our weak point that I'm envisioning is epics right now. So let's go back there and see like how we can bridge to that a little bit better. So the best way is going to be definitely to start with the rares rather than just the epics because we're trying to see like how we get there. Uh, None of these are incredible. Nightshade is not. I really really love this character, but it's got its times to shine, and I don't think this is going to be one of them because I don't think we really are excited about buffing our Fey bonuses, and it's not important for us to be casting spells the way that it is for some other strategies. So like we're not going to be able to randomly get this big enough that like with if you're running a Wink strat, like then sometimes you can just like have this be at like +6 +6, and then you can buy it, and then you get a all for one or something like that, and it's just a really really good use of two shops that like could otherwise have been quite awkward. Uh, but I just don't think that like a +2 +2 to everything is going to be what we're looking for. Uh, the other thing we could do is be like, okay, well, we have a really strong like common uncommon phase. Our rare phase starts to fall behind a little bit. We could like just take Rolo and like YOLO Rolo, and slam Mordecon in there to go with this Mecha Man, uh, and try and take advantage of like, or not take advantage, but use like that crest of our power spike um, to greed some like treasures and use that to become strong rather than just to like rely on our units and our ability like our consistent abilities. Uh, I don't want to do that, but if I, fall in love with like this in general, but it is too inconsistent, maybe I'll try that and just like go for broke. Okay, so 3 slots is not enough to support candy. Leapfrog doesn't actually work great with what we're trying to do. Uh, Smug is pretty much always okay. I might just take Smug. Like, and not just like in a, oh, if you golden Uther Pendragon, it's like the first Smug that you get if your board is at all stable, and you have a couple treasures, like opens up a lot. Any 3 bags full can like get you something that just gives you direction, and or accelerates your power. I, we'll see. Maybe it just looks completely worthless once I actually have it in play, and then we'll revise it. But I think my instinct is that it could be good at kind of like it's going to be a good purchase at the time when I'm like expecting my shops to start becoming a little bit like, oh, what do I do here? So 2 more slots to fill. Giving Tree is always pretty good with this kind of thing, right? So, we just buff like the middle slot that has the big support buffs that's going to have the summons later anyway. Um, so I'm into that. Party Pinata, I don't think we're like hard committed to toys. Like we're not gonna have like 5 toys that are, summoning more toys. Like that's just not the game plan. But I think Mordecon could be okay. The problem, of course, is that if we have 2 supports in the back, like where do we put this? Is it gonna just get hit before it summons? I'm talking myself out of it actually. I think that like things that don't work well when your plan works, you shouldn't be adding uh to your deck. You should be adding things that like kind of broaden your options in a way that like synergizes with your core game plan. Um, so with that in mind, should I just jam Wink because like you might as well. It will make your supports like most of your supports will be Fey. Let's see if we miss not having Wink. What was the thing that I was kind of questioning here? Mordecon. Because it's great if we summon it off of Mega Man and it gets itself, but I don't know that we can do that in one turn. Uh, like consistently early. So like we might have to proc it twice and just seems very slow. Uh, and again, I will put in the timestamp whenever I like really belabor this if you want to just skip ahead to the games because I know that I'm taking quite a bit of time. But I hope that this is interesting because like I think maybe this is I don't know. I think this is something that like I'm still trying to figure out is deck construction, and I think I've gotten to a point where at least like my decisions kind of have a logic to them, and I think it's interesting to explore that. Sleeping Giant is kind of cool, isn't it? It's kind of like doing the thing that Charlotte does, like much smaller, obviously, like incredibly smaller, but like way earlier, and earlier counts for a lot. But no, because this doesn't solve the problem, right? Like we have plenty of good things to do around then. We still need to like find something good to do here. Innkeeper is awkward. We're not committed to hunts, but it is powerful. The thing is we don't have any like really vital hunts built into this that we need to support. We don't really want to like combine it with Sarmina. We don't necessarily have enough quests to make Guinevere work. Tricky, tricky. Um, maybe we just need another summon. Maybe Raggedy Ann, actually. I almost never end up adding this unit. This character might just not be good enough, but like, it's kind of coming at the right time, right? Like, what if we start falling behind, it gets a little bit stronger. At least there's a logic to it, and let's see what happens because of it. This says support. Um, yeah, because we don't, we're going to have like a pretty reasonable squad no matter what, because we already found our first support. I'm perfectly comfortable, like taking the greedier decision because this is very much a board where like a couple stats here and there can really matter. Jealous Stepsisters should be easy enough to proc off this puck, especially if we pick up another support here that already, will get it to 6. Uh, Thorn is a little bit greedier than I want. Daughters of Athena. Oh, sorry, Daughter of Athena. I don't think there's heroes that we care about, right? Did I have Huntsman? Maybe I could have taken Huntsman. I should have put Huntsman in. Because that would be pretty sick with Sarmina, and then like do some other stuff, maybe even set up like a little bit of a deeper hunt strategy, because I think like this character can definitely support hunting. Uh, hmm. Okay, well I don't have it, so let's take Thorn. Um, and then hope that we don't just like get hit for too much this fight. Just in case this attacks like into a 1/1 or something like that, and then I should absolutely be putting this back here. Both that this is more likely to get like to interact twice, although that will probably happen. But also, I really, in case they have the monkey. Okay, yeah, lost one. A half heart. That's fine. I was kind of expecting it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the ideal support, but it gets the job done, right? Like, and now this is at the number it needs. Uh, I like ranged characters much more in slot 4 than in slot 1. And, we might as well just grab this, set up a shanty for the future or something like that. Should we run it like this so that the Thorn has better stats? I think a 6 is likely to hunt, but I do quite no, because I really don't want to lose this heart. It doesn't seem worth it to me. Great. Obviously, getting Thing in the Ice, which can be quite dangerous, so low this early is like really, really nice as well. Bounty contract, huh? I mean, Robin's Bow is usually what I would be taking here. I don't think our first slot is like so strong yet that we, like can feel incredibly confident about things hunting. What would I get that would make me like this more? I guess I can't really think of much, so I should just take the thing that, is a little safer. This is a 1/4. Yeah, okay. So I could take Jack in the Box for certain here. Sorry, I should probably drink some water. Um, just because it's like, any summon is strong here, but we would probably replace it pretty soon. Uh, and also like this Pyrite isn't gonna hunt back here, right? So let's try it here. Because this would be a great slot to get a few bonuses on as well. Little Red, I don't see myself transforming. So I think I'm okay with this. I don't love it, but it'll do. Yeah, like Ahab doesn't really have a place with this, but we'll just put it here. Really glad that I got this Robin's Bow. And that's pretty okay, right? Like, uh, man, it really is Oops All Hunts, which does make me think like, is this what happens when you just like have supports is that you pick up a hunt or two and then you should grab Innkeeper because you have 2 hunts already in the front? Uh, Maybe it is. I usually quite like Anne Bunny actually, but part of why I like it is that it's such a flexible unit once you get the first hunt off, basically. Maybe you want two, but like if you have a little bit of a buff, basically the first hunt um, is good enough that you can kind of move it to whatever position it needs and it will function. Like it may not hunt anymore, but it will have robust enough stats that it's not an embarrassment. Uh, but with what we're doing here, it is a little bit more difficult, right? Because like it's really only competing for the frontline slots. It's still, I mean, Laser Shark is big, but like a ranged unit back here, it's kind of the same problem as Hunt, right? And then I think that this is just enough bigger. Like this Pyrat's pretty small at this point, right? Like, uh, I think Toady seems fine here. I mean, I could True Love's Kiss here. Uh, if I remember correctly though, like what what would we hit? I think Toady is good. I'm just double checking the stats. We want to replace this puck. It's, like not really giving us the stats that we need on the front line. It's certainly helping, but it will fall flat. Um, hmm. I mean, we're not replacing it yet, and this is a goodie bag. We're not here to not take goodie bag. So I don't really want any of these. And here, like, again, like, I'm actually okay with this being here, because just look how much bigger this is. It's fine. Like, be nice to get another hunt, but I care about this so much more. Uh, a Down Came with the Rain plus a Boon Below gets a ship shape, which is like pretty marginal, but none of these are good. I th I think bonus shop. I guess at this point when we don't have a Mecha Man, we're not really excited to look for one. Basically getting like a little bit closer to like a bonus shop by getting a silver is better. So, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, you don't have to be doing like phase stuff necessarily. You can just like play a solid game because this core is always going to be all right? With like hunt in one, summon in two, and supports in these two, or something similar to that. Um, it's just a functional line. Hmm. None of these are exciting though. Like this is so pretty much the same. We don't really care about the farewell like aspect of this. We don't have any animals. This is terrible though. So like, what are we going to do? I guess we'll take this for no real reason at all. So Chill Sunshine is better than this, not by much. There's no epic treasures that are like going to solve our game plan that I can think of, so I'm not like thrilled about this. Blessing of Athena doesn't really set us up for much, but it isn't bad. It's kind of like an upgrade to a support, right? Because the most important unit to put all that on is here. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. There's the Mecha Man finally. There's also now a much bigger Daisy Jones, and I think this shanty's kind of done its job. Again, I don't really think that we'll ever make this happen, but it's just, big and gets us closer to a potentially powerful treasure. Mecha Man is, I guess, like I said, just a little bit behind. We have a much more relevant toy. I like Mockingbird here. And here it's like, yeah, we could put Mockingbird in the back so that if Daisy Jones hunts, but like, is Daisy Jones, I don't know, I guess it's this isn't actually contributing that much, is it anymore? Yeah, maybe we, but like if this hunts and then doesn't die, this doesn't work. It's so awkward, right? Like I'm basically, I don't know. I've had this work specifically with Mushroom Ring and be really, really sick, but otherwise I haven't really. I wonder what you can do with this. It seems like such a powerful effect. Obviously, Daisy Jones' Locket is nuts, um, but I don't quite see how to make this work yet. Mousetrap better than this? Still no. Well, maybe actually. It is an animal for this, and then the stats are comparable. Should I just go off Jack Frost? Just have no supports in my like support strategy? God, I actually think I should. That's so funny. Okay. But this just seems like a much better board, right? Like we have our hunt in the right place, we have our defensive unit in the right place. This thing makes more sense here. Like one of these is much more likely to have died. And we also even have like a little bit of a defensive bonus for this like unit that wants to hunt a little bit later. How bizarre. And then Goodie Bag and Mockingbird. I don't know. If there was an animal that I cared about like having a bunch of stats on, I would be like putting this here because it is actually like probably better than putting them on the common. But I think Goodie Bag is just like so it's much more likely to become like a part of our like just endgame strategy. This Mousetrap's going off. Close. Okay, there we go. Uh, okay, and here is exactly when like you want to get off of Ant Bunny, and that's you know when it happens. But you can see also that like this is turn 9. Our squad isn't terrible, but it's nothing special. Um, and I definitely like our path forward is not so clear, whereas other squads that like look maybe a little bit like this might have like a much more powerful high end to be going towards. Although ours will be easier to accomplish than theirs still. We're so far from either of these, like any of these being good. Um, you know, it adds up. You never know. I'm just assuming that I'm not gonna like golden any of those, and that like my best value. Oh my God, what a disaster! But also like our board was terrible, like I said. Um, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, that like the point is to like maybe seed a silver for a future like mediocre shop. Um, that I might as well like have the one that over, like that adds anything, any other value, on the silver rather than like wait for the gold. Uh, Jasmine Dragon is like, like generically powerful, but it does like just make us weaker on an already weak board. And right now this Daisy Jones, like if we can transform it, we absolutely will, by the way. Because it's starting to accumulate stats. What are we doing here? Why have I not done this? I guess this Mousetrap we're not like gonna stick with forever either, but like it's obviously where this health should go. What a mess of a run. I haven't decided. Maybe if I should like um upload this because it's kind of a disaster. Um, Not a disaster, but like messy, or if I should just like spare you guys. Jabberwocky doesn't matter. None of these matter. That's too bad. I guess Jabberwocky does something. I think it's probably actually just better than this. If we can get it kind of big, again, transforming is a thing. It's not like I like love transforming. Like often I just consider it for a second, right? Because like it comes up in shops and it's a way to get value of what happens when it comes up in shops. So if you have a situation where like it could matter, it's not that like you're trying to live the dream so much as you're just like trying to get value. Uh, yeah, I don't think any of these particularly need to be golden. Daedalus. We really didn't get there on any something involving slot bonuses. And then our other thing doesn't need us to like find something that we don't have. We would just like pop a different summon into here if we found Blue Fairy, even though it is a little bit late. Stinky's usually better than Mousetrap. There are exceptions. I don't really want to keep a Stinky on board, so I don't know that I want to invest in that. I might just take this Nessie to like get the legendary out. We're kind of a generic captain or a strategy, so we're okay with like there's not specific epics that we're looking for. Eureka's nice here. Hmm. I do think we're not in great shape. It's hard to tell. Turn 11, this could get crushed by some boards, or it could be fine against some boards. Uh, just because we have two like kind of strong range characters. Basically, I'm wondering, do I just greed one of these, make our shops better, or you know, because I don't think it's gonna make the difference between like us winning or losing necessarily. Or it's just against the boards that are like stronger than us, they're just gonna be stronger than us. Like hitting one unit might probably doesn't matter that much. Well, it might have just cost us a full heart actually. So if that's the case, it was definitely wrong. I'm doing this. We need something like spectacular here. So this is going here, and then now this is going here because it's ranged. We want this buffing maybe these two because this is like still a ranged character. That's quite good. And this Mousetrap again, we would rather have something else. I think we're off of Blue Fairy. I think we're just going for like the dumb like Merryweather ranged support stuff. We're a little late to the party, but like it still can cruise to like a third. And usually with Merryweather, you're trying to like get second and get it very, very often with like very little risk of getting fifth or sixth, right? Like first is you don't really like slam through at the end unless you do something pretty risky with like Don Quixote or something like that. Um, or if you just, sometimes you just get a great board and overpower your opponents in either late game or like mid game, but much less often than you do with other captains or other strategies, I should say. Yeah, because our things kind of are dying in like a hodgepodge order probably, so I don't think we can really make Bunyan's axe work. I think we'll take this. We're gonna have, oh, we're already in, yeah, we're in top two. So this is exactly it, right? Like that we were good enough, and by the time we were falling behind, other people were also like getting beaten up by each other, and we just had a lot more health to work with. And that's a second place with Merryweather. I mean, we didn't get to do anything that I talked about or that like I built around, but that's okay. We'll get it next time. Bye.